Hey folks, I'm Walter.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we're gonna make some tomato and Parmesan risotto. I know risotto seems to be like very, very scary, but Rebecca, it's actually really easy to make, right?
Yeah, takes some time and effort, but it's easy.
It's actually really, really easy. It just takes a little time. Risotto sounds scary because it's like one of those big restaurant things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this recipe is actually from Bon Appetit, one of our favorite magazines. So what do we got, Rebecca? What do we got for ingredients?
We have olive oil, onions, garlic, the best thing ever, tomato paste in a tube.
Tomato paste in a tube. Why is that so exciting?
Because otherwise you get those little 6 ounce or 4 ounce, whatever they are, cans, and you end up with like half a can and it goes bad. This stays good longer.
Stays good for a long time. Yes, it does. Okay, what else?
Arborio rice.
Arborio rice. So that's a special kind of rice. You don't actually cook it in water per se. You cook it in, whatever it is you're making. Go ahead.
Tomatoes.
Little cherry tomatoes.
What else there's cheese and butter.
Cheese and butter. Everything is good with cheese and butter.
And although the recipe doesn't call for it, I'm going to use some white wine.
White wine, okay.
And broth. I'm using vegetable broth, but you can use whatever you want.
All right, what are we doing? How do we make this?
First off, you get the broth warm.
Okay, get the broth warm.
You want to get it kind of simmering.
Back there, broth simmering.
And then we'll put some olive oil in the pan.
Olive oil in the pan, okay.
So then we add the onion.
Add the onions. Ooh, listen to that.
And we're supposed to cook this over medium until it's golden and very soft. Our stove runs a little hot, so I'm doing it slightly under medium.
Yeah, so this will take about 5-10 minutes?
They say 8 to 10.
Yeah, so it'll take about 8 to 10. We'll check back in a minute. Becca noticing that is a beautiful cut on those onions. Look at this.
And they're supposed to be finely chopped, and for me, this is about as finely chopped as I get.
Sorry about that. You were looking at it, and then it went foggy. So we're looking for a light golden. It's getting there. And light golden is relative too. It also depends on how hungry you are. If you're really, really hungry, that's light golden. If you can wait a little longer, well, then it can be, a little bit more of a golden. So, general rule of cooking. The more hungry you are, the faster you're going to cook.
The next thing to go in will be the garlic. And we have a general rule of thumb, whatever amount of garlic a recipe calls for, as long as it's getting cooked, we double it. We learned the hard way making, I believe it was hummus, not to do that on uncooked garlic, however.
No, there is such a thing as too much garlic when it's raw. When it's cooked, however, no such thing. Sorry, if you have a problem with garlic, you will not do well in this household. I'm trying to direct my wife to tell her to dump the food towards the camera rather than away, because we're both right-handed, and of course I put the camera on the right side because that's where all the light's coming from. Just gotta pour the food in from this side.
I am super right-handed though.
Yeah, we're both super right-handed.
1 tablespoon of tomato paste. There, that's about a tablespoon.
About a tablespoon.
Again, I didn't really measure, but...
You really don't... in baking, you really got to measure. But when you're cooking, not so much. Not so much. You can have a little fun, wing it a little bit more.
Well, basically, we're just cooking this till the tomato paste darkens a little bit. So now we add in the tomatoes. See, this is what you get for trying to get me to do things.
My wife knocks everything over.
It's his fault. You do shit left-handed.
Ooh, our first bleep.
Also, the recipe calls for some nutmeg, but I don't particularly like it in savory recipes, so I'm not adding it.
See, another rule when you're cooking for yourself, if you don't like an ingredient, don't put it in there. All right.
So we're basically cooking these until some of the tomatoes start to burst.
Until some of the tomatoes start to burst. So are these grape or are these cherries?
Heavenly salad tomatoes.
There's cherubs. Cherub heavenly salad tomatoes. Aww. You can just smell the sweetness coming off of them.
The recipe calls for cherry, but this is what the grocery store has.
Right. And again, you know, if you go to the grocery store and they don't have that exact thing, very often you can find substitutes. There's a lot of websites out there and apps that'll actually tell you, if you just put in the item, it'll give you a suggested substitute.
Personally, I want about half of them to be at least slightly burst.
There you go. At least slightly burst. Mostly burst. If they were all burst, you'd be in trouble. But since they're just mostly burst, let me have a look. Okay, what's next?
Rice. One cup of rice.
1 cup of rice. Literally just dumped it right in there. It's not like your white rice, your jasmine rice, your brown rice where you go ahead and boil it up in water. The ARBORIO rice just goes right into the dish. And then we're going to add water to it. How much salt was that, Rebecca?
A bit.
A bit? So these are pretty cool. These are, again, we also got these at LADLE. You just crank the little handle, so it's got the salt inside. These are awesome salt shakers. We've had them for a while. Yeah, here's the pepper.
And LADLE has their own brand of these now.
This is
Kuhn
Rikon. Really nice. They work really well, and you don't, I mean, we've had these for a couple of years now. Awesome. So just stirring the rice right in with the tomatoes. No liquid has been added yet. And then what we're going to do is just slowly add the liquid in. And then it's just add liquid, stir, let it absorb. Add liquid, stir, let it absorb. It's just a process that takes time, but there's nothing really scary about making risotto.
And here's the wine it didn't call for.
Now, why are you adding the wine?
Because most risotto recipes do call for wine, and I like the flavor. So basically, you just stir this until pretty much most of the wine is absorbed. Okay, that looks to be pretty absorbed.
Absorbed. Here she goes. She's going to do it with the right hand because she just can't do it with the left.
No, I can't.
But you see, so she just put 2 ladles of the liquid in there, the broth. That's a vegetable broth. So basically you're going to cook the liquid almost completely away, to almost dry. You'll be able to move the spatula and actually see a little bit of a dry spot on the pan, and then that's when you go ahead and add 2 more ladles.
If you push this aside, you can kind of see there really isn't a lot of liquid that fills in the space. So I'm going to add some more.
There you go. So that was the first ladle through. Now she's adding a little more liquid. And that's what you're looking for each time. As you do this.
After this one, I'll just do 1 ladle at a time.
So this is the second addition of the liquid. Starting with the third addition, she'll start doing 1 ladle at a time. So we've used about half of the liquid that was in the pan, plus that half a cup of wine.
Find out.
And so we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 ladles. And it's definitely starting to thicken up. It's not taking quite as much liquid as it did before. So as you pour this in, the rice is just absorbing the liquid in.
And you don't need to stir constantly, but you do need to stir frequently.
Yes. Now the difference between frequently and constantly, Rebecca, what would that be?
Constantly is
Obviously.
Not stopping.
Yeah. So how often would be frequently?
Less often than constantly.
So stir it frequently.
You want to taste?
Oh, sure. Firm yet satisfying. It's still a little crunchy. Got a little crunchy on the inside. The thing about the risotto, you don't want it completely mushy. You want it to have a little bit of a bite to it. Italians call it al dente. You want to have a little bit of a bite in there. Not necessarily a crunch, but a little resistance when you eat it. It smells so good. You see how easy this is? You can make this at home easily. I heard that you can make this easily. Oh, taking over? She's taking over. She doesn't try. I think I was stirring constantly. I wasn't stirring frequently. That was my problem.
This is just so you have time to...
To do what? Play with my friends? Hi. I'm glad y'all are enjoying Where's Walter. This is a lot of fun for me. It's funny, I produce all these things for other people, but I really do things for myself. So this is fun. Thanks for joining. That was ladle 8. That was ladle number 8, I believe. Oh, it smells so good. So we've got, let's see. So we got rice, we got tomatoes, we got garlic,
Onion,
olive oil, tomatoes, salt. No pepper
broth.
yet. Oh yeah, the veggie broth.
White wine, did we mention white?
Yes, the white wine. And we still got butter and cheese to come. Woo! What are we thinking?
I think it might be there.
Oh, it might be there. Oh, that's absolutely perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect. It's soft, but it's got a little bit of a resistance in the middle. Spot on perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, look what she's doing now. Not very gracefully adding butter to the risotto. Oh yeah, this is when it gets real good. Look at this. Look at this. How much cheese is that, hon? That much. Looking at that. Oh, look at how beautiful that is now. Folks, risotto in about 30 minutes. You know, you can't call and order a pizza in 30 minutes, but you can make a risotto in about 30 minutes.
Just to give a little sauciness.
A little sauciness, she says. That was ladle number 9. So even though we had the perfect cook on the risotto, she just wants to make it just a little bit more liquidy in the broth. Look how absolutely beautiful
Now we'll
that
cook it
is.
for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes, just let a little bit of that liquid cook down.
And then taste it, see if we need salt and pepper.
Look at that. Look how pretty that is, right? Huh? So we've got the risotto. We've got a little bit of just torn basil on there. Now, depending on what you like, maybe you want to have a little sriracha on there. Add a little bit of heat to it. You could add a little hot sauce to it. You can add some chili flakes to it. Like Rebecca's just getting some chili flakes right now.
Pepper.
Yeah, crushed red pepper. But there you go. That is tomato and cheese risotto.
And more cheese.
And more cheese. Molly the Wonder Dog. Molly, come here. She is 13 years old, and she has been cleaning our floors for all those 13 years. She's not as good as she used to be. She's a little slower now. But,
Eyesight's not quite.
her eyesight's still not there. But go to your local shelter.
Labrador Friends of the South.